Okay, we're recording, so who would like to go first?
I can.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. After doing some research on economy in the United States, I found the top three industries in our country's economy. Healthcare is the number one top industry in America, and an article I read talked about how the health sector helped the U.S. recover from the 2018 financial crisis, and this sector added 2.8 million jobs between 2006 and 2016, and this is apparently 7 times faster than the overall economy. And during the 10 years since 2008, the sector has grown jobs 20%, while the average rate for the economy was only 3%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics expects healthcare jobs to grow at a yearly rate of 18% from 2016 to 2026, which is much faster than the rate of the rest of the economy. Healthcare Management, which is a guide to healthcare degrees for prospective students, says there are 4 reasons for the increasing healthcare sector. The first reason is because the increasingly aging population is causing a need for more services. Second, chronic conditions that aging populations suffer from are increasing the demand for healthcare workers. Third, medical advances and improvements are expanding the top and number of jobs that are available. And fourth and finally, federal healthcare insurance reform has increased the number of people looking for normal medical care. From the nation's gross domestic product, health spending accounted for 17.7% in 2018. Next, technology is ranked the second industry in America. The tech sector is a huge component of the U.S. economy. Employment in computer and IT is projected to grow 11% from 2019 to 2029, which is faster than the average for all occupations. Also, the demand for additional workers is coming from cloud computing or the collection and storage of big data and information security. The impact of the tech industry has affected nearly every state, and according to CyberState's 2017, the industry is ranked in the top 5 economic contributors in 23 states and in the top 10 of 28. Technology plays a role in almost all other sectors such as healthcare, advanced manufacturing, transportation, education, and energy. The Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, autonomous vehicles, and augmented and virtual reality are all changing society and industries. Finally, construction is the third ranked top industry in America. Construction has been a growth industry in all areas. Includes residential and non-residential builders, contractors, and civil engineers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, construction and extraction occupations are projected to grow by 4% from 2019 to 2029, which is nearly as fast as the average for all occupations. The growth is because population growth, which then increases the demand for new buildings, roads, and other structures. According to the data from the Census Bureau, construction spending hit an annual rate of 1.365 trillion during 2019. Also, I did research on what type of economy America is, and the United States has a mixed economy. It has an economic system that has characteristics of both capitalism and socialism, and a mixed economy system embraces economic freedom when it comes to capital use, but it also allows for government intervention for the public good. Yeah.
All right. Nice. Good job. All right, so I'm going to talk about the United States global economic engagement. So since the United States has the largest mixed economy, as Taryn just stated, many countries are dependent on the United States imports and exports. Over 1/5 of all countries in the world depend on the United States in terms of exports destinations. 5 countries that the United States depends heavily on include China, Mexico, Canada, Japan, and Germany. China supplied around $452 million to the United States economy. Mexico supplied about 358 million. Canada supplied about 319 million. Japan supplied about 144 million. And finally, Germany supplied about 128 million overall to the United States economy. The United States also contributes 20% of the world's total economic output. Trade is a very important part of the United States economy. Without trade, many countries in the world would struggle with everyday life. Many industries are affected directly because of the economy in the United States. For example, as the world endured the COVID pandemic, the United States economy went into a recession. For example, with the pandemic, the gas prices plummeted in 2020 due to the lack of travel and everyone staying home. But now, in 2021, prices are rising due to the increase of oil prices around the world because of the refineries that were knocked out of businesses or refineries that were knocked out of business because of the pandemic.
Okay, so going along with all of this, so our economy has grown a lot over the years, and one event that had a large effect on how our economy runs today is an event known as the Great Depression. So the Great Depression lasted from 1929 to 1939, and it started when the stock market crashed in October of 1929. After the Roaring Twenties, which was a time of a lot of success in the United States, and a lot of people, this was just, they call it like the golden age, and just a lot of people were very successful and just living life. And so after this, the Roaring Twenties, the stock market had reached its peak. So with going with that, like when something reaches its peak, obviously at some point it can't be at its peak forever. So after this, production in factories and other places started to decline, and the unemployment rate was slowly rising. And so this left stocks in great excess of their real value. So people weren't buying stocks for what they should have, so the prices were a lot lower than they should be. And so in general, this is what caused the Great Depression. And as this started to occur, investors got really nervous, and they could tell that the stock market was going to crash soon. So they quickly tried to sell their shares in their stocks for high prices. And because all of these investors were doing this all at once, at at prices that were a lot higher than they should have been, this caused the market to crash on October 24th, and this day is known as Black Thursday. And a few days later, on October 29th, another excessive amount of shares were attempted to be sold at high prices. So this only made the situation worse, and this day is known as Black Tuesday. And many investors that had borrowed money from like the bank and other places, they were now in debt, and that also put the banks and other people in debt as well. And this is what caused production to be slowed, and many people began to be fired from their jobs. And even if you still had your job, your wage was lowered a lot. Like some people's salaries were lowered by 40%, and the company wasn't providing as many benefits like insurance and stuff as it had beforehand. So as like mentioned earlier, this lasted 10 years from 1929 to 1939. So it only got worse as the years progressed. And so people continued to lose their jobs, and more money was lost. And on top of this, many farmers weren't able to harvest their crops because they couldn't afford it because of what was going on. So fresh like fruits, vegetables, and other crops weren't as readily available, and people were starving. And so on top of the Great Depression, something called the Dust Bowl occurred, which is when excessive amounts of wind was pushing um, lots of dust from Texas to Nebraska, and this caused droughts. So the droughts were killing the crops and livestock, and a lot of people died as well. Um, and if you look up pictures online, you can just see that there's just inches of piles of just dust covered everywhere. And because of this going on, this caused a mass migration the from the what's the word? The rural areas, sorry, to big cities, and this only made the situation worse because they were moving to big cities to try and find jobs that didn't exist because the unemployment rate was already so high, and people weren't taking as many employees because they couldn't afford it. So the cities were becoming more populated, which made food even less readily available, and the unemployment rate only to grow higher. And so banks started shutting down because people couldn't keep up with their loans, so they couldn't be paying the banks back. And the president at the time was Herbert Hoover, and he attempted to use the government loans to try and keep the banks open, so the banks could, in turn, try and help keep companies open, so then the companies could continue to pay their employees. But this didn't work out. This plan didn't work out as he had hoped, and eventually there was another presidential election, and another president, which was Franklin D. Roosevelt, was elected. And so when he was elected, this is when the Great Depression started to turn around and get a lot better, and the country slowly started to make its way back to normal. And Roosevelt ordered all banks to close in every state, um, to try and help the United States on the road back to recovery. And he created a bunch of programs and projects to help, again, put the United States on that road back to recovery, and he referred to this as the New Deal. And this time changed the lives of all sorts of people, everybody in the country, no matter your age, or anything, and it changed family life a lot. For example, a lot of marriages were postponed because people couldn't afford it. The birth rate decreased a lot because people couldn't afford to take care of another child or another person in their family just because it was such a hard time. And then also the divorce rate was lowered a lot because people couldn't live on one sole income because everybody's income was decreased so much, and just the divorce itself is expensive, so that decreased a lot as well. And the Great Depression also had effect on a lot of other countries outside the United States because, as Tom talked about, like imports and exports, the United States didn't have as many exports because production decreased, and then as well as they couldn't afford as many imports. So countries all across the world were affected, and it's very likely that Colombia was probably affected by the Great Depression in the U.S. as well. Um, and so, like, overall, like, the long-term effects of the Great Depression and what we learned from during this time has shaped the United States economy into what it is today, and that's why so many um, financial plans are in place for people, and insurance and loans in the stock market has changed over the years because people have learned from the Great Depression.
Thank you. Just to tell you like a fun fact. I already know just a little bit about the Great Depression because that's an important topic that we are studying when we are doing the bachelor degree in English. So we are watching like the all history from the States and all history from UK. So when you were telling us that, I don't know if Andrea knows about the topic, but I was like identified with some specific things. But I just want to tell you that I was like asking myself that you mentioned that the divorce was expensive, and I was like, yo, what? So
Yeah,
it was kind of funny. Uh, it was expensive, and it is still expensive, or it is just cheaper.
I, you know what? I honestly didn't look much into
Uh,
but
okay, just for next meeting, or maybe you can just tell me by inbox or whatever. I'm just going to tell you that I'm going to explain you the biggest industries in Colombia. And I have to tell you that I was doing as Tarin the research, and I just discovered that this is a mixed. Just let me see, how is it? Mixed economy. Is that right? Yes, mixed
Yeah.
economy. Mixed economy system, because we are doing manufacturing. This having happening from 1930s, but it was just like the beginning until 1990s. It was when the corporations in the country began exporting their products to neighboring countries. Sorry, so that's why sometimes maybe you are hearing on the maybe I don't know if you know that maybe here in Colombia we have the best coffee in the world. So that's why we are like exporting every single coffee that we are producing. So that's always happening, and always with the avocado. I don't remember the pronunciation. Sorry about it. What else? The fuel. Actually, we are big producers of fuel, so that's why I was telling you about the manufacturing. And what else? We have this textile and fashion. Is based on the like focus on one city, which is Medellin, and it is just the yes, it is just like the center of all the country, which is already just giving like all the production of the country. And this has been happening from 2015. And what else? The construction. Just let me, yes, I remember. Yes, the construction is a big thing and a big business here in Colombia because almost if you are going to like build something, you are going to get hiring someone. So it is a big business here, and that's why it is one of our biggest points of our economy. And also we have the agriculture, as you know, Colombia is very agriculture. It is just a kind of the traditional economy, but it is not at all because we are doing some things that it is not from traditional. And yes, the agriculture, because we are producing too many fruits because owing to the weather. So it is going to allow us to export too many fruits. What about the energy? Yes, it is just energy. We are big producers of energy. The banking is something amazing here because the first of all the security on the banking here it is amazing. It is just it is something unavailable, and that maybe some hackers are not going to be available to be hacking some systems. All right, so the system of the banking here is very secure. However, the city not. So, for example, if someone is going to steal your money, is going to do it physically, not on the online, like online banking, because we are having a good security on the online banking. And yes, basically the loans, the mortgages are very interesting here with a low rate. Sometimes it depends on the bank and the services. Yes, it depends on the on the side of the city. For example, if you are living in the north side, you are going to be paying like too much things and a higher price. But if you are living in the south side or in the east side, on the west side, you are just going to be paying just a little bit less than the services from the north. All right, because the north at least here in Bogota, is not as the rich part of the city. So that's why services are sometimes just a little bit cheaper for people like in middle class or lower class. And yes, basically that's all the industries that we are having here and we are producing here in Colombia. And just to tell you that Andrea is going to explain what about the big business and the big companies here in Colombia. And just let me see. Yes, about the economic engagement with other cultures, we are just it was I don't remember if it was the last year that we were exporting avocados to China, so it was kind of amazing. It was kind of historical for here. Um, so we are big producers of fruit and coffee, and yes, that's all. So Andrea is going to explain about the big companies, basically.
Yes, thank you, Diego. Yes, now I am going to continue with the three maybe more successful companies here in Colombia. And the first one is called Bancolombia. It was the pioneer company in the Colombian financial system with the first virtual branch of people in 1996 and in 1999, sorry. It is inaugurated, or no, sorry, it inaugurated the virtual branch of company, which was the basis for the first internet payment system in Colombia. Other sorry. Um, Other milestones achieved were in 2000 when the first virtual credit card was launched in Colombia for internet purchases, and in 2006 the opening of the first bank correspondent in Colombia. The second one is Grupo Nutresa, Merco ranking as the second best Colombian company for 2021 with a score of 1,771. Until some time ago, it was called Compañía Nacional de Chocolates in Spanish, and it was found in 1920 in Sonsón, and is considered one of the largest companies in Colombia. The third one is called Alpina, which once again wins the third place of the best Colombian companies for 2021. And it is a multinational food producer company. It was founded in 1945 by Walter Gogel. In its beginnings, it was established in the Valle de Sopo, on the outskirts of Bogota, and began the production of the cheeses. Currently, his specialty is dairy products and beverages. I don't know if I am pronouncing right, but okay. Its area of operations is made up of countries such as Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela, and the United States. And it also markets its products in Central American market. Now, about which, how has your economic system? Okay, in Colombia, the established economic system is mixed capitalism. Indeed, the vast majority of productive organizations are in the hands of the private private sector, but there are also mixed capital organizations that is the public and private sectors, and public companies and the public and private sectors also participate in decision making. The other one is, what do you know about economic engagement with other cultures or countries? And I'm going to talk about the Ecuadorian economy, which has been one of the most stable in Latin America. Ecuador has enjoyed a healthy economy that has been supported by the dollarization regime. It means that Ecuador uses the dollar as its currency, oil prices. It is also known for being an economic system that supports agriculture, which makes it also sustainable since it supports the agricultural and time allows to work. And now I am going to the final question. Now that I am talking about that, and is there any information about your cultural economic system you would like to add? And I think that I think that maybe here in Colombia we should like try to our economic system looks like the Ecuadorian economy, sorry, because here we have a lot of countryside people, and yes, the agricultural sector, which has a lot of things to do, but the government don't support them, and for that reason, many people lost maybe, I don't know how to say. Yes, all their work, right? Now the other one is, how have the industry's economic products and financial structures influenced your life? Okay, now I think that the companies and yes, all the economic sector have totally influenced our lives, since basically our life is based on the consumption of the production carried out by these companies. In my case, in the financial sector, and I know the case a lot of people here in Colombia, my family, my friends, as well as I, of course, have used the different financial options offered by the country's banks. And that's all.
You guys did a really good job.
Yeah, that was so good.
Thank you
Yes, it was. Thank you. So,
Do you guys
so
have
much, guys.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said, do you guys have any like questions?
Oh.
Diego, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but you said that you like learned about the Great Depression, right?
yeah, I already learned just a little bit about the Great Depression. Actually, the teacher who's going to watch this video, she's the one who was teaching me that.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did did she like talk about how like if it affected Colombia at all? Like, do you know?
Oh, how the Great Depression affect the
Yeah, did it happen to
year?
affect Colombia specifically?
Ah,
You know, did she end up talking about that or no? I was just curious.
oof. No, I don't know.
You know,
Actually, I don't know. Maybe I just know the influence that it had on the United States, but I didn't think about what's going on that period of time here in Colombia. So
Yeah.
I was like, So that's a good question. I'm going to look for it, and I'll be back or with that answer the next minute.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any questions? Any comments? Any inquiries?
I don't think so. Does Colombia have like the best coffee in South America?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
That's a good question.
I don't know if it is. We are just the ones who are exporting the best coffee in South America, but we are considered as the best one. So it depends on your taste.
I'm a big coffee drinker, so
Yeah. So maybe if you come here, you are going to like it because maybe you are just going to find coffee like every single black, like
sure.
every single black. It's
Yeah.
real.
Same with
Sheesh.
Starbucks here. There's one on every corner, a Starbucks.
Yeah, yes. It's the same thing. However, here in Colombia, Starbucks is just a little bit expensive. Or maybe
Yeah.
it's for me, but it's just kind of expensive. I don't really like to spend money there. I
Yeah.
prefer to eat something else.
Mhm. Do you guys live in like the city, or are you in like a suburbs or
No, the city.
the city?
Yes,
That's so fun.
Yeah.
yes. Actually, it's crazy.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're living on the city or on the campus of the university or
I'm on campus, but I'm actually at my house right now, but I live I don't know how much you guys know about like where things are about like the states and stuff, but I live just north of Indianapolis, which is the capital of Indiana, like the state I live in. Indianapolis is the capital, and I live in a suburb just north. So Indianapolis is like the big city in Indiana. So I live just north of that. So it's kind of like the suburbs.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, and same as
Cool.
me. I live same area as her.
Yeah, we live in the same city.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Actually, I was asking myself if you were living in the same house because if you see the paint wall, it is the same thing.
Oh
So I was
yeah,
like, maybe they are just in different rooms or whatever.
yeah.
yeah, we actually drove home from campus together yesterday.
Mhm.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so yeah, she dropped me off.
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well,
yeah,
I
I think it's okay to stop the recording because
yeah, let's stop it.
yes.